Belief is part of confidence. Confidence has two parts. Let's take a look. Because this is why it's so important. It's so important to understand confidence. Because you can make the case. Hey, that may be the most influential second dimension issue as it regards the outcome of our success. So as we define it, what is it? Here's how we define it. Confidence is an individual's belief that they have the necessary skill to achieve a desired outcome. Simply, it's a belief in my skill set. So belief is part of it, skill set's the other part. Belief is the second dimension, skill set's the first dimension. They're connected. Most coaches know how to coach the skill set. Do we know how to coach the belief? So it's a belief or faith. We use those two, for us, we use it kind of interchangeably, and I'll show you why. Belief or faith that I have the necessary skills to achieve a desired outcome. Where is the outcome? It's in the future. It's in the future. The outcome, the desired outcome, is what's yet to be achieved. It's in the future. So real confidence looks to the future, but it also looks to the past. Belief or faith looks backwards. Outcome looks forward. So how do we build confidence? We identify what we call, this is stuff we don't have in our training yet, but what we call the confidence can. The confidence can. I can. You can. She can. They can. We can. The confidence can. What goes into the can? What are the ingredients so the can isn't empty? How do we fill the can? Well, the can first looks backwards in belief or faith. Faith looks backward and brings itself into the present. Faith looks backward. What is faith? How would we define faith? We have our definition. How would you define it? It is believing. Well, how do you define belief then? We're changing words, but that's not defining, that's changing words. I can't. He can't. Okay. That's the present. What's the faith part that goes into that present? I asked a college, I work with a lot of college teams, or I did a lot of character development with a lot of college teams. And we took faith as one of the words, saying this: faith works in three directions. It works inwardly, it works outwardly, it works upwardly. On a team, me, teammates, coach. It works in all three directions. Here's how we define it. Faith is courageous trust in what I have good reason to believe true or credible. When I asked this college softball team, one of the girls on the team, these are 19 to 23-year-old players, and one of them defined it this way: faith is believing something even if you don't think it's true. I said, oh, I get it. I may believe it, but don't ask me to put any money on it, because I don't think it's true. No. That's a good definition of wishing. It's not a definition of faith. That's a I believe it even if it's not true. It's a fairy tale that I'm going to believe it. I'm going to wish for it. No. This has to have substance. Real faith has substance. It has reasons. It has evidence. It goes beyond the reasons and the evidence. But it doesn't go against the reason and the evidence. some kid on your team says, Coach, put me in, I'm ready to play. A good question to ask is, why should I put you in? As a curiosity, but also to get them to give the reasons and the evidence, because that brings it into the camp. Here's why you should put me in. I've made every practice. I know the plays. I've worked on my skills outside of the practice. I get into the weight room and lift. What did that person just do? Give you evidence, give you reasons, and hold it into the present. Confidence is built by looking backward, bringing the evidence into the present. Because if there's no evidence, it's a false confidence. Some kid may think they're ready to play, but you know very well there's not enough evidence. I've watched them practice. I know what they're doing outside. Everybody on the team wants to play. Give me good reasons why I should put you in. That's part of confidence. It looks backwards. It requires reasons and evidence. And the more skills I develop, the more reasons, the more evidence, that helps to build confidence. But remember, it also looks forward. The desired outcome, I have to have some kind of desired outcome as well. That desired outcome is best described as hope. Hope. What is the definition of hope? What does hope do? Hope that it creates that because it takes my present reality and keeps it open to a future possibility. Hope takes my present reality and keeps it open to a future possibility. Hope is present expectation of future good. That is the definition of hope. Present expectation of future good. It keeps it, the possibility is there. And the possibility is a good thing. Because if the present expectation is possible failure, that's not hope. And that doesn't build confidence. If my future expectation is not a good one, then I can't build confidence. I erode it. If we're a team that just goes, I know we're going to lose. We're not a winning team, so I know we're going to lose. Does that give hope in the future? No. Now, you may, as you talked about, if you have a team that is just, they're really low-skilled team, and we're playing a lot of high-skilled teams, we have to create a different future hope. It may not be winning. It may be developed. This is going to show how we're learning to play as a team together. That's the future hope. Because I don't want to lie to them because we don't have enough of a skill set yet. We don't have enough on this side of the equation to say that we're going to be champions in the future. So I have to figure out what's another kind of hope that we can give them. We have to be hope bringers. Because if we don't, then without hope in the future, there is no power in the present. Without future hope, there is no present power. In fact, that is a functional definition of depression. If you've ever walked through depression yourself or with someone else, and if you haven't, you will. That's just how life works. It is by definition a loss of future hope. That's what depression is. Because I look and say, why bother if I look to the future and there's no hope? That's why you have to walk with people. And you don't encourage them, you try to help them to see a future. There is something worthwhile. So hope. It is present expectation of future good. How do I coach those things? Here are the three aspects of hope to develop as a coach? Goals. Our goal instead of saying our goal is to win, let's take a process or from a process. No, our goal is to play what it looks like to play as a team. So our goal is this next game is to learn when we do shifts, when we cross and when we do shifts. That's our goal. I don't want to look at the outcome, I'm going to look at the process. I've got to have a goal. Something, and it's clear and as specific as we can make it. So the more specific, the more powerful. Remember we did that exercise yesterday. In sharing, the more specific. If I just say, we want to get better, what does that mean? The more specific I can make it, the more transferable and the more powerful it is. This is what I mean by getting better. And you have to coach that. But goals. Remember that one of the 5 parts of a goal in English we call it a SMART goal. Do you use that? SMART. What is S? Specific. What is M? Measurable. What is A? Achievable, attainable. R can be different in some places. R, realistic. Sometimes we call it relevant. Do I want it? And then T is time bound. That's what you need to do. Create goals. Specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic or relevant, time bound. That's what you do as a coach. Now, that's our goal. What does this mean? Pathway. What does that mean? How you get there. The route. How you get there. Coaching is creating pathways. That's what you do. Okay, kid says, I want to get better at dribbling the ball. How do I get better? What do? You coach them. You give them a pathway. This is how. This is how you get better. Somebody says, I want to lose weight. Okay, I make it specific. I make it measurable. I want to lose 5 pounds or 5 kilos, and I want to lose it in 2 months. Is that attainable? Yeah. Is that realistic? Sure. I got a time bound. Okay, I want to lose 5 kilos in 2 months so that I can fit into my suit for a wedding. Now I make it relevant. And then I go to a personal trainer. Why? Why would I go to a personal trainer? Why would I go to a coach?
To be more serious and achieve your aim.
Yeah, to help me achieve it. I don't know how to get there. You know how to get there. So I'm going to go to you so you can give me a pathway. Coaches, you're creating pathways. What does this mean? What does agency mean?
Connecting yourself to others.
Connect. Agency in this case simply means this. I have the power. I can do something about it. I have choices. That's why when above the line, I'm an agent. Below the line, I'm a victim. Victims feel like they have no power. It's all being done to them. Agents say, no, it's being done through me. I have a choice. This is part of helping your players live above the line. Look, we got a goal. I'm giving you a pathway. That doesn't mean you're going to get there. Because you got to choose to do the work. You have choices. And when I have goals, pathways, and a sense of agency, I have hope. If I'm down here as a victim, I don't have any hope because I can't do anything about it. It's all being done to me. You have to help players. Give them a sense of choice and agency. You can't tell them everything to do and stand over them. Yeah. You need to help them to see that they have a choice and they can get better. And if they need help with pathway, I'm here as a coach. My job is to help. You've got to be doing this on your own. In fact, You will not get better just at practice. You have to do this on your own, outside of it. And empower them with agents. That's what that is. And when I do that, I give them hope. Do that, I give them hope. So those are the ingredients. You need to coach the skills, develop those, help them to develop them. Give you reasons, give you evidence. Bring it into the present. Then go to the future with goals, pathways, and agency, which give you hope. Because now I see the future, and it gives me power in the present. Present expectation of future good. If I have hope in the future, I have power in the present. And then, touched on it before, these are the ingredients, but it needs something to motivate, to empower. And that is the motivation of love. If I love being on this team, if I love the game, if I feel valued and I feel covered as a player by the coach, and I want to be there, well, you bet that gives me the environment that I can develop the skills and look to the future. And that's how confidence is formed. So I have to coach both directions. I've got to coach both directions. If we have time, we can give this to you. We have a little, I work with a company that's called Future Hope, and they give this simple little questionnaire to determine how much hope, agency, and so they've got these 12 questions, and 4 of the questions in there are dummy questions for future vision and empowerment. We can look through that at another time. Right? This is just a test even for yourself. I can send you the sheet. Remind me of that. I'll just send you the sheet that has a little bit of the instructions on it in the WhatsApp group. We'll be able to do that. And just remind you. The hope scale sheet. Pretty simple. And it might be a good thing to put before your players. And this, because it'll tell you how much hope they have. Do they feel like they're agents, or do they have a tendency to feel like they're victims? So here's what you do. Here's 3 things you can do to build that. Some of them look backwards, some of them look forward. The first thing you do is this. If people are struggling with confidence, what direction does this one look? It looks backward. Past successes. It's in the present, and now let's look back. You've been successful. Maybe you've forgotten that. You know that they've demonstrated that, but they're doubting themselves. Look toward past successes. What are some ways you can do that? What are some ways you can show them what they aren't believing in? It's true, but they're not believing it. What way can you put evidence in front of them?
Remind them.
How do you remind them? What? Through video. You can do it through video. Listen, you should be using this if at all possible. This is really powerful. American football, if you go to a practice, there's a lot of them that have 6 or 7 cameras up at practice. Because the camera doesn't lie. The camera tells you the truth. It'll help somebody who says also, Coach, I'm doing this the way that you tell me. The video said, why don't you watch it? Oh, I guess I'm not keeping my eyes proper, not turning my foot properly. I thought I was, but the camera doesn't lie. It can be helpful, but because it tells the truth. Other ways you can remind them of past success. Maybe they've done some things really well, at a tournament, trying to think about as in football, it's easier in some other sports, but they've whether they've scored or they've made that kick that they're not making now, take them back to that, but don't you tell them. See, it's one thing for you to say something, it's another thing for you to ask them to tell you about it. I want you to think about it. Remember that time. Tell me about it. What were you doing? What were you thinking? Because in confidence, for confidence, there's only one voice that matters. There's only one voice that matters in confidence. What voice is that? The individuals. Their voice. It's what I'm saying in my head is the only voice that matters for my own confidence. Your job is to help change the voice in my head. Your job is to help change the voice in my head. And one of the ways is to help me remind myself of past success. But reminders of past success helps build confidence. Here's another one. It's not theirs, it's somebody else's experience. Watching similar others succeed. Now, this you need to be careful with. This is not a comparison kind of thing where somebody says, I wish you were like your brother. That's not helpful. That's not what we're talking about. Here's what we're talking about. I want you to think about this. Have you ever said this? Shoot, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. That's what we're talking about. See, that's where we move from excuses, I can't do it, to ownership. Look, if they can do it, I can do it. That builds my confidence. I don't think I can do it, then I watch some other people just like me, and what it does is it helps them to see maybe that was an excuse, a below the line. And I was treating it as a reason. I'm being responsible, I'm reasonable. No, it was an excuse. I'm going to take ownership. That gives me confidence. So watching similar, and then the third one is simply this. Create an environment that builds up, encourages. Encouragement from self or others. Create that environment. Notice that courage wasn't one of the words we put on the board. We didn't put courage up there. That's because courage isn't simply one of the words. Courage is the form of every one of those words at their testing point. It takes courage to tell the truth, to be honest. It takes courage to do justice. It takes courage to persevere. Courage is the form of those words when it's tested. That's what we want you to put courage in. There's too many environments that take courage out, that discourage. Create the environments that put courage in. And here are 5 ways to do that. Here are 5 ways to focus on that. What you need to do is don't praise talent or giftedness. Praise the effort. Focus on the process and the effort, not on the end result itself. The end result. See, you made that goal. How did you do that? Hard work and good strategy. See how that pays off? Keep working hard. Keep the results will take care of themselves. Praise, effort, and strategy. Second, be specific. When you say good job, I don't know what you're talking about. It's praise, but it's not very helpful. What about it was good? See how you position your foot to trap that ball? You turned it, and how you held that? See what you did to do that? That's what we're talking about. Good job. The more specific, the more powerful. Third, don't be this kind of praise machine that has no reason. You're just trying to create, you're trying to manipulate. When you do this, when you don't do it, when there aren't good reasons, it's not effective. In fact, it can be undermined. And then, this is the last one. Praise and pride. Now, that doesn't mean take them off to the side, nobody else hears. What it does mean is you don't do it like this. Hey, everybody, do you see how Joseph tracked that ball and caught that there? Everybody, did you see that? Great job. Now I'm using it as a reward. And praise is not a reward. This kind, it's feedback. Now, somebody else may hear it, but it's not for other people. It's for you. And somebody may be around, they may hear it, but it's for you. If it's for everybody to hear, then it's a reward. If it's for you to hear, it's feedback. That's what we want this to be. Look at the effort and strategy, not the result. You can tie it into the result, but make them understand the result is because of the effort and the strategy. Because you can always put in effort in good strategy. You can't always get the result you want, but you can always control effort in your strategy. So, let me just give you, this is how you do get better at everything. I have to believe, it affects my action, and then I see the growth. For instance, if I believe I can get in better shape, what's the action going to be? If a player believes that they can achieve something, if they've had past success, I tend to believe I can still have more success. If I believe that, what tends to be the action? Well, if I believe I can get better shape, I tend to go into the gym to do that. And then what's the result? Growth. Which is just the opposite. If I could never, too late for me, I just can't. Then what do you think the action is going to be?
Laziness.
And what's the result? This is how we get better at anything. So, how do you help them? When you're tempted to say, or the voice in your head, or you hear a player say this, you say it or you hear a player say, I can't. I can't. Teach them to add one more word. What word do you teach them to add?
I can't.
Okay. Yet. Yet. Or you say, I can if, I can't yet. It's true, I can't do this yet. Why do you think you should do it? You haven't put the time and energy and effort in. If you think you can do something you haven't tried or haven't put energy and effort, it's a false confidence. You're telling the truth here, but help them reframe that. My job is to help you be able to do it in the future. I'm going to give you future hope. Because I can't gives me no hope in the future. I can't yet. Wow, that opens the future up. Because there'll be a time when I can, if I put the effort, if I build this side of the equation. I work hard, I've got evidence, I've got skills, maybe I can now. The last thing I want to share with you is, for this to work, you need to help them understand learning zones and performance zones. When am I in the learning zone and when am I in the performance zone? Because we expect different things. In the learning zone, the goal is to get better. The performance zone, the goal is to do the best we can because we're performing. Games are almost always performance zones, competitions. Practice should be a learning zone, most of the time. And if it's not, you need to tell them. You can say, now in practice, we're going to do a scrimmage and I'm going to evaluate your skill set. So it's a performance zone. But otherwise, practice should be a learning zone. activities are designed to get better, to improve. You design them to perform and execute. We don't put new formations in the game. They can't execute. We put in the formation that we've worked on. Game time, I want to see you execute. There we concentrate the stuff we haven't mastered, haven't got good at. And then what we have mastered in the performance. So mistakes, I mentioned them yesterday. I expect mistakes in the learning zone. Because by definition, learning means going from what I already know to what I don't know. That's a step of mistakes, of learning. The path to learning is always through mistakes. Always. Always. Mistakes that I evaluate and improve on so that I master them, and then I've learned them. If I'm only doing what I already know, I'm not learning, I'm repeating. I'm honing, but I'm not learning. And then, of course, that's what we say. Keep the stakes low, price of learning. If we raise the price by getting angry, if we raise the price by making them sit, if we raise the price that way, you're going to lower the learning. You always lower the learning. The higher price of mistake, the slower the learning. Always, for all skills. The higher the price of mistake, the slower the learning. And then it's the challenge in the learning zone. Sometimes here the mistakes, if we're doing these things, it's a loss of focus. That's what we tend to see. But the response needs to be the same. I want to keep learning. That's why over here we continue to coach. Because we're going to see mistakes in the game. We don't expect them. We don't want them, but we're going to see them. And so now we're still in the learning zone as well. Or the desire is to keep learning. And we didn't talk much about this, but growth mindset is the mindset that says I can always learn and grow. So when you design your practices, help them to know, and you've got to remember too, is this the learning zone? Then I need to let them know that I'm expecting mistakes because we're trying to get better at things we don't know right now. That's what this practice is for. That's not what the game is for. The game is to perform. If in your practice you're going to turn it into a performance zone, then tell them. Right now, we're going to evaluate your skill set as we play these games. I want to see what you can do. So I've told them it's a performance zone. By the way, if your practices are open to fans to come, I'm not saying it should or shouldn't be, but just understand you're starting to create a performance zone, even if you say it's a learning zone. Because now we have spectators. Now we have spectators. And it's hard. Once we have spectators, I'm thinking I should perform. I don't want you to not have people there because you don't treat them well and you don't want them to see how you treat them. No. But just help to understand. In America, a lot of times, if a lot of parents want to come and watch a practice, I will say, we'll try to have some separation. I don't want to deny them that, but I want them to understand. I don't want you looking at your son or daughter to see how they perform. I want them to be learning. So I always tell the parents when children come home from a game or practice, stop asking results questions. Ask growth questions. Don't ask them how they did. That's a results question. Ask them this. What did you learn today? What new thing did you try today? What hard thing did you try today? And then the third is, who did you help get better? Start asking those questions instead of how did you do? Because now you're focusing on result. You want to focus on process. That is tied into creating confident attitudes. Creating confident attitudes. Look backward, look forward, create an environment where they want to be there. You'll build confidence. You'll build confidence. You'll build the skill set, and you'll build the belief. You'll build confidence. Okay. That's all I got, because time crunch. That's all the time we have. We got more. It's called an online course. We got more, but we don't have more time. That's good.
Give me a lazy man who wants to walk. Don't give me a strong man that doesn't want to walk. Let's give it up to Mr. Mark again. Next 2 minutes, we're having Mr. Paul Gaga talking here to talk to us about moralities, ethics, and professionalism. Mr. Paul, are you set? Let's give it up for Mr. Paul. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The atmosphere is a bit tense because we sat down enough for some hours and we listened to this great speech from one of our guests. In fact, this topic has really blessed me personally. I think it should be something that is our sincerity, fairness, and all that should be our watchword. And as somebody who engaged in a profession that is something that has something to do with other people, you have to imbibe those qualities: fairness, honesty. But I won't go further without first telling you, my name is Paul Akokere, of course, football administrator, I'm a coach, also an advisor, a counselor, and I want to use this opportunity to thank my able Shema, the Shema of the Badagry Division, for having me here to meet great people like us. What we see here is just a journey. We're all trying to put our heads together, because when you see a book written by an author, it's just all about the author's thoughts in print. So most times we come together like this, we want to put ourselves together, share our experiences, and see how we can get better. But I believe we will get there.
Amen.
I want to really appreciate everyone that has come for this seminar. It's just a journey. It's a continuous process. You know, the school of thought said repetition is the mother of lasting impression. So most times when we have opportunity to go for seminars and seminar again and seminar again, it gives us opportunity to refresh our minds. It trains us. But I want to say this: let us not be tempted to undermine the place of knowledge, because the life, they said, is a journey and is a teacher. The more we live, the more we learn. So every one of us have responsibility to learn. We don't want to remain the way we used to be. And for a coach, who you are not just standing for yourself, you are standing for multitude. Every coach here represents a number of players under them. So I think we stand in a very pivotal position to influence the people who are under us and every other person that we meet, and particularly Nigerian football. But I think again we will get there.
Amen.
I said we will get there.
Amen.
I will get there.
Amen.
I will get there.
Amen.
I want us to clap for ourselves again. Mr. Mark, I want to appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for this speech. I personally learned a lot of things from that submissions. Some of the things, let me, if I make reference to some of the things that he has mentioned here. Don't be a tour guide in a city you don't know well. It is an apology to be a tour guide. Like he mentioned, that for him to come and have a bus tour like they said, he want to take us on tour in the Lagos city where he only knows the hotel that he has been and of course this place. It will be a disappointment because he doesn't really know this place. So if we think we are kind of tour guides, we are a compass to a lot of people. So I think it is worthy to give it attention, this training and every other training that we have the privilege to be part of. And we must also be the example of what we are teaching. We must also be the example. And I think this seminar is also one way to pattern us as the kind of example that we teach those our followers or students or whatever, or players or what have you, to follow. We have to be the example we are teaching them. So this seminar does not just stop with us, it goes beyond us. Said a good man leave an inheritance for his children and his children's children. So if we are to really maximize the purpose why we are here, we must practice them. Because sincerely, knowledge is of no value until it is applied. But the profit of knowledge is in its application. If we don't apply what we know, we are like somebody who doesn't know. And let us be honest to ourselves. Some of us have attended one seminar or the other, one time or the other, but how many have we taken time to really apply? And that is why I'm here standing to try to bring that local content of what we have been hearing. I said local content, that is the primary expectation of us in putting these things that we learn every day, these things we have encounter with every day, in putting them to work, to have a first-hand encounter with the things that we hear. Those things, because if you don't put them to work, what is the use? You are like somebody just sat at home for the last 3 hours doing nothing. But we have to challenge ourselves. And I think one of the core issue or essence of this meeting is to provoke us to action. We've had enough. We've had a lot. 1 or 2 times we've been to seminars, we've had a lot. In our everyday life, we are being taught, we learn lessons and all that experiences, even from the experiences of others. But how many times have we taken out to make resolve that this is what I will start? And that's where the true change begins. We have to resolve within us. Just like some of us, 1 or 2 of us, will resolve after this meeting that see how to start to take initiative, creative thinking. You sit down and say, okay, I want to start doing this, I want to start doing this, I want to start doing this. And the good thing is that it doesn't matter where you start from. Because until something changes within you, nothing changes around you. Change begins from within. So you must resolve within you that you want to begin to effect those little changes, those little knowledge you've gotten from football management and whatever discipline that you engage. Knowledge is of no value until it's applied. So we must learn to apply everything we learn every day. And I want to say this. Science says if you learn something, if you attempt something, you learn something, within 3 hours, there's every tendency that you forget that thing. Naturally. If you don't go back to it, there's every tendency, it's natural. That is the way the brain is put together to function. There's every tendency. So everybody have that risk of forgetting or let go whatever you have learned, no matter how serious you take it. So that's why you need to go back to it. And one way to commit yourself to what you have learned is to start doing it. Because when you start doing it, you're already doing it. It will be reminding you of what you are doing, and you see yourself grow in it. I've seen players, all of us who are here, coaches and all that, administrators, even referees and all that. Like, you've been in a situation where you see a player grow in your hand. It grows from that. Even a player, there's a player, okay, not to make reference, we all have those experiences. A player who you see, he just come, maybe he have very little skills or understanding about the game, but he's strong, he's ready. And you begin to encourage him towards that part. And before you short time, you see that person growing. Why? Because the problem, the issue will always be there. I'm holding a black biro, a black pen in my hands like this. If I close my eyes and open it, it's still a black pen. It will not mistakenly turn to a red pen. It is still there. So every change that we want to see, we have to work for it. We have to gather information. We have to do for it. We want to effect, we want to see changes. And like I said, part of why it is urgent on us, there are destinies waiting for us there. There are destinies waiting for us there. But I've seen one thing that they said is constant in life is change. Even big coaches, they have not seen the coach that have not fired. Once results stops coming, you have been doing well or you've been doing well. When results stops coming, they fire you. It's just not, even the coach know that it's normal. Let me go and start another place and apply another place. It's just normal. So for us, we need to keep thinking. And I still tell you, if Guardiola continue like this, that is another story. So because of lack of the use of a mind, as we run through this, it frustrates and kills growth. Once you don't use your mind, you won't think well. It will frustrate your growth and will kill your growth. It frustrates and kills growth. Once you don't use your mind, because you don't know what is happening. You don't know how to go about it. There's a challenge, little challenge, but how do you go about it? Something that there are times going to a next level or getting promotion might come as a challenge, might come like a challenge. Our speaker wrote some things, look alike, sound alike, feel alike, something like that. There are times some growth, some platform for growth will come like a challenge. But you just, that challenge will not give you the experience to be able to assume that growth. But sometimes, because of lack of insight, you saw this thing as challenge, no, because you don't know better. You never saw beyond that challenge, that beyond this challenge, if I'm able to do this, then I'll be able to cross to the other side. You just see the challenge, this thing looks like this challenge. You are so comfortable in your comfort zone. Just want to settle for your comfort zone. No. You should be provoked. You should, if you have been using your minds very well, you'll be able to look beyond that problem. Look at it from all sides and try to come out with a solution and thereby moving forward. Now, the last we point here on lack of use of the mind is it destroys vision. Now, vision is a function of sight. Seeing yourself, seeing your model, seeing what you want to be. I believe every one of us, consciously or subconsciously, we should have vision, or we have vision. Vision is a function of sight. Now, you might not have it as that word, vision, but inside your heart, I know one or two times we have talked about, I want to be one of the best coaches, or I want to be a coach that has trained a player who plays in the Champions League and all that like that. I want to see myself being successful in this coaching career and do a lot of exploits and all that. That's your vision, because it's a function of sight. You want to see what you want to become, what you feel like, what you want to become. But all of this will be destroyed when there is not the use of your mind. So the use of our mind is critical in actualizing our vision. We will get there.
Amen.
You know, like somebody said this thing. He said, when you are in the wrong direction, speed is not an advantage. And that is a very crucial one. I tried to think about this. It took me back to one of my friends that traveled abroad. He said, no matter, I remember still at the Murtala Ahmed Airport, we were trying to spotting to board that 2004. He said, no matter how fast you run to the wrong direction, you can never get to the right destination. And that is traceable to what Mr. Mark Paul has been telling us. Sometimes you might want temporary victory, but overall, you are destroying things. That things you just achieve, it won't go far, it will still crumble. He's talking about integrity, he's talking about love, fairness, and all that, morality to put inside. There was a course I attended in Abuja, Europa, something. They were talking, using sports as a yardstick to create peace. There's a lot of things they said. When sports come, first of all, you love what you are doing. First of all, it's a sport. Yes, it's business. Yes, you transform to business. But first of all, it's a sport. You need to love it. You have respect for other people. You need to show fairness, kindness, and integrity. And one of the things I didn't read that from what I did, from what I was saying, that football as a trade is a platform for building sound moral character. Football as a trade, as a business, but it's also a platform to build sound moral character. So as a coach, you are building character. You are a character builder. So what you teach the players every day, if you teach your players to cheat, just like a coach, you have collected money from the other team and you want to do match fixing. You collected money from the other team. Maybe I'm very sure your team has qualified from that round or something, whatever. And that next match, you obviously don't need that match. Then the other one of the teams that are playing, they come to give you money that let your boys lose 5-0. Obviously, that team can't beat your team 5-0. You not call your boys, say, we need to lose this match 5-0. You must play, they give you red card. You give me the red card and all that. What are you really passing to those young players? And that's not a good foundation for them. Because one, you have the responsibility as the leader there to guide them in the right direction. And let me tell us, those things they boomerang. So, that's a personal thing anyway. For some of us, I want to believe we will not see those negative experiences.
Amen.
But those things have a way of coming back. Because it is what you sow. There are times coaches have become so sentimental that they don't give all the players the same level playing ground because sentiment, not because of their input or their loyalty. They just love this one, they don't like this one. Put this one for match, not put this one for match. Anything that has to do with hard work, you know, give this one, make it do the hard work. Whereas this one, soft pedal. That one in one of those things, I think it was Jasper or Doji or one of those teams, those 90s. There's a player, I think still Emmanuel there. I was in NBA that time. 97. And that particular guy, the left footer, very good player. But the coach just ate him for no reason because he's just so mindful of what is there to do. He doesn't play around the coach. It's just one area for coaches too. We all know that. There are times you become so sentimental that those players that come around you, coachy, you need to dread them close. But no, this player is just a straightforward player. Professional, he's trained, go to the camp, train, do put it for man. And the coach for no reason, because there was no obvious reason why the coach should be treating like that. Even in training days when they want to play two sides, he will not feed it. So when the training time just we are home. So there is this match, cut long story short. There was this match they came to play in Lagos. That's also one of the things like that. And the coach, you know, as the Nigerian syndrome, the coach let it be among the players that go and lose. For far back, we know how it is. Most times, away team always lose, while the home team must win. It's the ability to get 3 points. It's okay, let him be part of the team that go and lose. And just about first half, they were leading them on. They were leading his team 1-0. Second half, they put another down 2-0. His team was down 2-0. And just about 15 minutes or 10 minutes to go, or thereabout. For it not to look like he did not play that match that they lost. Tell me do one more. Go and enter. You know this kind of thing. But this young man, he kept his focus. He came, first ball, he was playing from the outside right, was the left foot. Give him ball, push ball. Before they say Jesus is God, they go 2-1. It is not something the referee can deny or to cancel. There are some goals that the referee cannot cancel. You will be admiring the goal, but there's nothing you can do. Even when we don't have videos there. The same point, 2-1. Before almost 90 minutes, they were looking at time. The same position, collect the ball, just did nothing. Before they say Jesus is 2-2. They tried everything, again, and then 2-2. It was from that venue, I think we need from there. It was from that venue that a manager that was in that game saw him, brought him. He said, would you like to have, you have passport? So no, passport. Went to do passport for him, 3 days. And that same week, boy is in Poland. So he came, and that match was the last match before mid-season. So when he resumed when the other players resumed for the second half of the season, he is already outside. You will get there. Amen. I say you will get there. Amen. So this gives us, I just say, let me bring it. It will teach us something about treating all players fairly. Now, when the second part of that story is that when the boy later came at the end of the season, brought boots, the kind of boot that they don't even use, they bought boots and give to all players, came, was happy with him because they heard of the testimony and all that. Even the coach still went to be the coach. But that's how life is for you. You will get it. Amen. I say you will get it. Amen. So let us not forget that phrase. When you are the wrong direction, speed is not an advantage. So no matter you are running speed to the wrong direction, it's not an advantage. If I want to get that road this line, I start running speed to this side, there's no way I will ever get to that road. But even if a tortoise starts crawling, there's hope he will get to that place one day. But for me running the wrong direction, I will never get there. But you will get there. Amen. Now, let's look at quickly causes of lack of the use of our mind. Causes. What causes it? Well, first of all, look at the cost. What it costs us if you don't put your mind to work. Now, we're looking at the causes. What causes us not to put our minds to work. Look at one. Ignorance. Ignorance. Ignorance somebody said, there is no mountain anywhere. Every man's ignorance is his mountain. What you don't know becomes a big mountain. Now, ignorance, you never knew that things are happening. You never knew things are really changing. There are transformations. You are in a new era. Things have changed. Not that old-fashioned, old way of doing things. Things have changed. You never knew. Ignorance. It's one of the causes. It's one of the causes of the lack of our use of our mind. Wrong association. Now, this is very, very key. It's not, even as coaches, it's not compulsory for you to be a friend to somebody. You can be coach, colleagues, and all that. But no. For me, I choose my friends. I must tell you this sincerely. Not with pride or anything. No. I choose my friends. Once we are not of the same ideology, and I see that we have difference in orientation and all that, I try to give some distance. I will play, we do things anytime we're in a meeting or we have anything, we want to play match against ourselves, we do all that. But to go beyond that, I try to. So when you are in the wrong association, say wrong association can wreck a destiny. Wrong association will give you wrong advice. You know, somebody who stays in the midst of 4 smokers, you become the 5th one. Even if you are a passive smoker, you become the 5th smoker. Consciously or subconsciously, you reveal all those things and everything that affects them affects you. So we must look at for the kind of association that we keep. Positive association. So if we stay with the wrong association, it can cause us not to use our minds. Then pride. Now, sometimes the word pride, a man can be proud and is not aware that he's even proud. Pride is an attitude, it's something you display. But sometimes you do all these things based on your low level of thinking. You do all this not because you really want to get at that person, but somehow you just act like that. Say, that's how I do my own thing. That's how the way I am. But that is pride. So that will block you. It's one of the causes. Somebody that is proud will not want to learn. Sorry, but I have to say this. There are 1 or 2 of us who have come to this meeting now, this seminar, and feel like we used to have 10 seminars. What's the difference between seminar? We have 10 seminars. I'm used to it. What else they want to tell us about this? But you want to justify yourself as somebody who have attended 2,000 seminars. I'm used to seminars. And somehow you see what it will cost you. I knew a player who traveled to a team in Europe, and he was there. He was playing well with a team. And of course, they are still doing selection and all that. And he was doing well. But somehow, during the last stages of that selection, the coach of that team dropped him. Maybe for whatever reason. He has whatever sentimental reason. Maybe he has other players that he likes or whatever. But this guy didn't feel better about that team because he knows that he's playing well. And he felt he ought to be in that team. He's better than those players. But he was just feeling bad. And somehow he was taken to another team. And that team, they made him a star player. It was obvious they were going to sign him because he was doing fine. Scoring goals. And somehow a match was fixed between this is new team and this is old team. And guess where? In the old team stadium. So he was there. He was playing fine. And somehow, he had the chance and he scored. And he ran to the coach of that team that left him, that dropped him. I was telling him, you see. He was just making those gestures. The coach was just saying, he didn't say anything. And later, the coach of this old team called his present team coach and said, look at what this gesture. He did that. That's how it ended. It didn't end there. They dropped the player from that team, that new team. Not based on merit. He's playing well. In terms of the game, he's playing well. They now send a message to their FA. Look like this kind of player. Look at what he did. And that was that for that season. Couldn't get anything to do. It was blacklisted. He was blacklisted. he was blacklisted. So pride. No wonder the Holy Book says pride goes before a fall. There are times we do some things, we don't know the effect of what we are doing. We shall get there.
Amen.
I say we shall get there.
Amen.
Then now we can't go further without looking at one or two of benefits of the use of our minds. But if we have seen the costs, what it costs us, and the causes, we still need to look at the, among others, it positions you for meaningful progress. Once you use your mind, you can think well. You can think well. And once you can think well, it becomes well. You know that, okay, there are some things. And one thing about when you begin to engage your mind, you begin to use your mind, the capacity of your mind to receive things begin to grow. Because every talent grows with use. Every deposit of talent grows with use. Even players that play for the national team or players that play for big club size, as you watch them when they come, after a time you see them grow, you see them playing. At that level, they still grow. So we say it positions you for meaningful progress. Once you are able to engage your mind, you begin to think well, it positions you for meaningful progress. Number two, we said it enlarges your capacity for growth. Of course, it enlarges your capacity for growth. Because once you use your mind, you begin to know a lot of things. As you know a lot of things, you begin to see the varieties of opportunities before you. You see opportunity here, see opportunity here, see opportunity. So it enlarges your capacity for growth. Gives you varieties of opportunities. And those are the platforms which you grow. And lastly, as we round up on this, it leads to the fulfillment of vision. Now, as a professional, you have a vision. Like we said, vision is a function of sight. You see yourself, see what you want to achieve. You see where you want to go. You see the place. So, what use of your mind does for you is that it leads to the fulfillment of your vision. With the right information, with the right use of your mind, it enhances you, it pushes you, it always shows you, it directs you, points you to the fulfillment of your vision. You shall get there.
Amen.
I say you shall get there.
Amen.
Summary on this. We need to identify areas of interest and passion. Areas of interest and passion as it relates to us. Because you can only be at your best where you are most fitted for. Some of us, coaching is not just enough. Like me, I don't have the patience to push. There are a lot of us who shouldn't be a coach. Sorry, but truth be told. I'm not putting it to any of us. Like, okay, there's this philosophy, whatever the heart of man can think, receive, and believe he can achieve. Sometimes it's easier said than done. There are times, because your passion is a pointer to your vision, there are times you don't have passion towards something. You don't flow with it, but you just want to achieve that thing. You can't get your best in that area. We need to identify areas of interest and passion. Areas of interest and passion. Where your love really lies. Where you find something doing and you find fulfillment in doing it. You can come at your best in that area. There are many things that doesn't look attractive, but certain people have been known for that thing and they are at the highest level. Who will know that somebody who have a pure water factory will become a millionaire? Selling water. And we know, of course, there are a lot of little things that we can categorize as non-essential, but people are millionaires in it. So it is for you to identify your areas of interest and passion where you have love doing. Because you can only be at your best where you are most fitted for. There's no way a square peg can match round holes. And round pegs matching the square holes. It is a vacuum. It can't work that way. So you identify it. So if you are a referee, you are a coach, you are a scout, FIFA agent, and all that, investor, and sports administrator, all those things, all whatever you want to come as, agents, you just need to know more. And that brings us to the power of the use of the mind. Where you think, you read, you sharpen your mind to be able to reason well. sometimes why we are not able to take right decision or follow the right direction is because our mindset is to be clouded with things that are not necessary for us. So we need to share. But when we need to get knowledge, that's why they say knowledge is light. And light is what you need to move. You need light. You can't move in darkness. So when knowledge comes, it gives you light, and then you can make progress, meaningful progress. So, and that brings us to the place of training and development, in line with the current demands of modern football realities. Now, when you begin to train yourself, when you begin to, identify the areas of your strength, the areas of your interest and passion, then it brings you to that responsibility of training yourself. You need to train yourself. That place of training and developing yourself. Don't assume you already know. You win match today, you think, okay, you are a world-class coach. No, it is not by strength. No. There's a level you know. And that level will be tested when you meet a better team. So I think we should reason along that line as well. Also, please, we should note, knowledge is of no value until it's applied, like we said. So what you know does not change you. Now, this is a word I have to reason very, very well. What you know does not change you. Now, if you want to think of, okay, so all these things we are doing here, what are we doing? What you know does not change you. But here is it. It is what you do with what you know that does. If you know something and you do not put it to work, you don't give it expression, you don't practice it, you don't operate on it, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any change. If you carry all these things you'll be hearing for these 2 days now, just put them somewhere and don't do anything about it. It doesn't look like you came to this seminar. But people are saying here, the world is waiting for change.
Amen.
You will get there.
Amen.
You will get there.
Amen.
Now we need to really position ourselves. We call it the wisdom of the moon. Now by science, they said the moon has no light on its own. What it does, it correctly positions itself against the reflection of the sun to reveal its glory. The moon has no light. What it does, it has wisdom. So it positions itself against the reflection of the sun to reveal its own glory. Now, what we see the moonlight is wisdom of the moon. You walk and function in that wisdom.
Amen.
Now, quickly, a lot has been said concerning moral values. I'll run quickly through it because of the time. Introduction to moral values. Moral values. I think Mr. Markov spoke extensively about morals. And see, let me tell you, you stand as a coach, you stand in a pivotal position to display good moral conduct. You should. Your position compels you. There are certain times match is going on. The referee has made a terrible decision, maybe mistakes. Because sometimes what you call mistake is relative. It could be sentimental. Your team, you say, this thing not supposed to plan now because I'm your player. But if it's the other side, we all understand that. So, but whatever it is, at that point, you were not happy with the referee. You keep your cool. Not shouting at the referee. What did you get? You see, that's why the FIFA generated, they can give you a yellow card. They see you are disturbing too much, red card, take it to the stand. Like, don't disturb the game. So, we should, all those are morals. These are principles. What do we understand by morals? These are principles of guidelines between right and wrong, or good and bad behavior. That's morals. It's a principle. Now, because of the way people reason, you want to categorize morality. Because based on, like our friend that came from abroad, there's a way they reason things, there's a way they approach things. That's why I said when I came on board, that I said I want to apply some local content to bring it close to us as it applies to our daily operations. Now, morality is relative. And sometimes some people might view it from this area and see that it is not bad now. What is it? Not bad now. Some will say that no, this thing is bad now. You're not seeing this thing. Why would this thing be like that? That is why there is a standard. There is a prescribed standard of morality. We call them moral values. Moral values. So it is a system of values and conduct. So morality is the attempt of humans to determine right and wrong, both in our thoughts and in our behavior. It is the attempt of humans to determine what is right and wrong. So we set a standard. This thing is, at least all of us will agree that this one is wrong. If not, if we take it, okay, everything goes. This one will judge it wrong, this one will judge it right, and we won't have a standard. So moral value has to be with the way we bring all of us to reason to an extent that, okay, this thing should be operational in everybody, so that we can have a sane society. Morality. Moral principles are guidelines put in place to make people do what is right. They are guidelines. Moral principles are guidelines put in place to make people, to compel people to do what is right. Now, a lady cannot just walk up here, naked, and be walking around here as if it's a normal thing. Say, no. You can't do that yet. Or a young man just naked and moving around us. In fact, we will begin to reason that something is wrong with this person. It's not normal. There's something wrong with you. But don't fall out from home. Now, let me jump quickly. Okay, some of the things we can identify, virtues we can identify as moral values. Honesty, when somebody is honest. Fairness, equality, and even human rights. Human rights was originated from that desire to see things go on right in our society. So, this thing shouldn't be like this one have a right, and this thing should be like this, this thing should be like this. So it is part of morality. Fairness, honesty, equality. The purpose of morality. Purpose of morality to keep society from falling apart. If we don't have a moral conduct or operational moral principles, there's every tendency that we can have a failing society. And purpose of morality again to enhance human standard. To enhance human standard. We are not animals. We have standards. Yes, in the biological term, we are higher animals, but we are not just animals on the bush. So to have a sense society where we operate as people, understand what we are doing, there must be morality. So the purpose of morality again is to resolve conflicts of interest in just and orderly ways. So we have all that to promote fairness. All these are things that morality teaches us. The moral standards are values the society uses to determine reasonable, correct, and acceptable judgment. The society uses it to judge reasonable, correct, and acceptable judgment. Morality. These are the moral standards. These are what we are supposed to do. We are human beings. Let us not do as if, okay, because this thing happens in your own village, then now bring it to you. No, there's a yardstick. That is the moral values that we should all live by. If we don't bring all of us to one page like that, everybody will do anything they like and just get away with it. That is why if something is going wrong in the society or a state, they will now bring it as a bill and now pass it into law. So that it becomes a law. Now, when you now do that thing, you'll be convicted. There's a penalty attached to it. Then, of course, we can also develop personal moral code. Personal moral code. This is a system of making personal ethical decisions. Personal ethical decisions. In the way that is consistent with your values. In a way that is consistent with your values. Personal ethical decisions. In a way that is consistent with your values, your own way of life and all that. Now, you want to affect or impact those around you. I will say here that morality is everything. Morality is everything. But even if you have everything, you are professional and you are immoral, you do things in the other negative side. Everything you have worked for, everything will just go down. We've seen professors who amounted to a non-entity today. A professor who is a scholar, past standard, who one time or the other was making references, bringing tests and all that, affected the lives of people, But lack of moral principles has degraded him. That will not be you.
Amen.
Now, quickly, let's just run through this. Understanding ethical values. Understanding ethical values. Now, ethics, the word ethics, in a simple term. Now, all these are not okay. They are English words, but there's a way that's why for me, when I write, if I'm in any seminar or any place where teaching is going, find a way to apply the ethics to make everything come to that standard because you can't build on a faulty foundation. A foundation that is not strong, if you continue to build, one day it will crash. You don't have values. And once you don't have values, you are not relevant. So some of these things have to provoke us to begin to take steps towards the changes that we desire. Ethics is the discipline concerned with what is morally good or bad, and morally good and morally wrong or right. Ethics is the discipline concerned with what is moral. It's the discipline. Ethics. Now you are compelled to follow the ethics, the rules and regulations. It's the ethics you are compelled to. It's the discipline. It's the discipline concerned with what is morally good or bad, or morally right or wrong. Every professional discipline has ethical values that guides it. Of course, we know that every profession has these ethical values. Of course, and this one will zero into football. It's a profession, so it has values. Let us respect the values. Let us imbibe the values. This is one area that we don't throw emphasis on. Sometimes people look at you and they say, these people are a bunch of people that are not serious. Because you are playing football. What is a responsible profession? But because you don't keep to the ethics, you just look at it, anything goes. And the way you deal with the players, you are maybe sentimental. You don't want to get this player annoyed. You don't want him to leave this team and go to one team there. No, have a standard. Follow the ethics. Just create, we say personal ethics. You get some ethics that you live by. But it must also fall under the professional ethics of the trade, which is football. Look at what is right. Look at what is obtainable in different places. Your discipline might not be in the same measure with others, but find a discipline to keep things in standard, to make sure things are going in the right direction. Now, we look here quickly, importance of ethics. It builds trust. Somebody wants to do something with you because they believe that you are ethical. He has seen your ethics, he has seen your ethical principles, the way you handle things, the way you go about things, he has seen it. So it builds trust. People are comfortable doing things with you. Another aspect, the importance of ethics is it protects rights. It protects rights. There are certain things you will do. It protects your own rights. People cannot come and meet you now and tell you that, why did you do this? You have a right because you are following the ethics of that profession. You have a right. You are following the ethics. So if they take you to any law court or any whatever, you are following the ethics. So it protects your rights. It protects your rights as well. It guides decision making. You want to make decisions, and it's easy for you to make decisions because you are following the ethical principles. You are following the ethics. So it guides your decision. You want to make decisions, you look at the ethics, and you are able to make decisions. It promotes integrity, like we had here. It promotes integrity. It promotes integrity. So the purpose of ethics is to bridge the gap between very moral systems. There are moral systems as it applies to various environments. So ethics will bring everybody, irrespective of your moral system that you have in your own personal one. This man have a moral system. We bring all of them together and make an ethics. That ethics is the guidelines that we use as our operational manual. Ethics. So it brings us to one page that look at what guides us. This is how to go about it. So ethics is very, very important. The purpose of ethics is to bridge the gap between very moral systems, ensuring that public services represent all the people. So we must have a standard that we follow, that everybody trusts in our profession and in our trade. Let's be ethical. Let's be ethical. Let's be ethical. Maybe you just want to go and study more about ethics, morality, and professionalism. And I have here on my last list here professionalism. I talk about morality, talk about ethics, and we look quickly at professionalism. The art of professionalism. The art is an art. It's something that you do. You engage. It's an art. It's an art. A-R-O-T. The art of professionalism. This refers to the way and manner you conduct yourself in professional setting. The way and manner you conduct yourself, they will identify that this person is a professional. So most times we don't act like that. We don't conduct ourselves professionally. But of course, this trade, this sport, football, is a professional sport. It's a professional sport. But if we don't pay attention to the way and manner we conduct ourselves based on the conduct of the profession, then we don't have value. Because outside professionalism, you have reduced that discipline, that trade, to just an activity. Any activity that is guided by rules and regulation becomes professional. Any activity that is guided by rules and regulation becomes professional. You can't tell me somebody who sells granite on the street is a professional. Because he sells granite, professional granite seller. There's no rules. Anybody can sell granite anyway. There's no rules guiding them. But football is a profession. Doctor, medicine, medical line is a profession. Engineering field is a profession. Lawyers, they're profession. Because they are guided by rules and regulation. Now, if you trade with this football and you are not guided by the rules and regulation, you have not displayed professionalism. You are in the field, the game is playing. They just act one of your player and it falls down. And you don't run enter the field. Referee has not called for medical. You don't run enter the field. Wait, you won't make it that. You won't make it, you know the season. No. The referee, no attention must be drawn. The referee will not call for medical. Those are professionalism. You have to follow the code. Something referee they make decision and you are there. You are interrupting this. No. Okay, all of now. Come back. Don't play again. Come back. That thing is not a penalty. You call them like you call them. So, but again, those things gives us room to reflect. If you are a true professional, you should be able to own up to certain things. It doesn't have to be right to be right. Not all that players are good. Sometimes I've played a game with a team that are privileged as their sport director. We lost the game 1-0, but they picked 3 of our players. 2 traveled to Europe. Now that they didn't pick anybody. So sometimes, like you mentioned, Mr. Mark Paul mentioned that praise effort, not the talent. Praise the effort. How did you do that? What did you do to get to arrive at that? That's it. So somebody should be a very powerful nugget. And if we really invite them, we'll be seeing change. This thing where they say knowledge is power. It's not because you just read it like that. It's because when you apply it, you begin to see the evidence of that knowledge, which transforms to or translates to power. We will get there.
Amen.
We will get there.
Amen.
So in roundup, permit me to just run down through a few things, then we close. I'm just trying to flip through a lot of things because of the time. Because we must understand that it is strategic thinking that leads to creativity and growth. Like I mentioned before, we must think strategically. What are we going to do? What are the areas we are going to improve upon? What are the things that we are doing that is not professional? What ethical value that we don't put to work and all that? Like that. We need to think strategically because strategic thinking leads to creativity and growth. Once you begin to think right, you need to see the solution on how to get it right. And until you get it right, things cannot go right. You need to get it right. There's no way you plant, like I mentioned, yam, expect it to turn to cassava. It's not atomize your project in order priorities. Atomize it, your project in order priorities. Don't try to put your hope in something that you have not built yourself to get to. Don't do that. I listen to people a lot. I've been making references of what Mr. Mark shared with us. He was talking about something he made reference to. He responded to somebody's submission there that you want to play a game against a team that obviously you know they are better than you. And is that a competition or against? I think somebody asked that question. So he was looking in his response to that. He said, you don't just, it is not only winning that you take home from that encounter with that team. Sometimes you want to play a team that is better than you. What what you want to take as a consolation from that team, from that game, is not necessarily to win that team, but improvement of your team. You play them and there are matches you have lost, but you know your boys they played well. That's a take home. You will get there.
Amen.
You will get there.
Amen.
And of course, we understand that business is all about exchange of values. We must train ourselves and develop ourselves to relevance. Please, I think we are really.
I need to go soon, so I'm sorry. I need to interrupt this, but I have to go. So thank you. We're going to go and give up.
Okay, in summary, I wish everybody good luck in your endeavors.
I think Mr. Paul, if you want to clap, please clap very well for me.
We got to keep this tight because I have to leave at 3:30 to get to the airport.
There's a flight to catch. So we'll start with certificate presentation as soon as possible. Alright? Yeah, call one of Bishop or to call your name, those that did the 3D program online. Sorry, you don't have a gift. You don't have a gift. This program has ended many months ago or some weeks ago. Some of us have ended up with. Those that have gifts are those that paid for this particular program 7,000 naira. Right? So we're starting with those when you do 3D online course. So they call your name, please. You take your certificate, you take a picture with Mr. McHugh or there one. Maybe you can take a picture with him single. Then if you don't have any other, if you're not among those that pay the 7,000, maybe you can go. If you can go, then you wait downstairs for another photo section. But you still, after that online, you're still part of the crew on this one, then you wait to get this other certificate and your gift. Hope you understand, Abi.
Please, only one person